Hi, welcome back to another episode of Girls, 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 and today I'm being joined by
Tammy Yiu Coyne.
So, I guess give a brief introduction of yourself, like who you are, what do you do?
Sure. So I am the co-founder of a startup called Partial Gallery, and that is like an online platform where people can discover independent and emerging artists in Canada. And then I also do a bunch of other stuff on the side. So I also have my own graphic design business, and I also am a marketing and communications manager for the Toronto Outdoor Art Fair.
It's really neat.
It's a lot, but you know,
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do.
It's fun though, like the creative world is always like bustling with like all different kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of like, things always like change, you know, like opportunities arise, and I think, you know, sometimes it's not something that you would have ever expected to come up. Like, I don't think I ever was thinking like, oh, I can't wait to be like the communications manager for this art fair. But when just like as time progresses and as you meet new people and if the timing's right, it's sort of like, yeah, I'll just say yes and then see what happens.
Yeah. So, for the first fun question, if you were a cookie, what would you be and why?
Ooh, okay, so there's this cookie company that I discovered in Toronto. I think they're called the Night Baker.
Oh,
but
yeah.
And they do these really delicious matcha cookies. So, yeah, I don't know. I always love chocolate and all that sort of stuff, but I've always, not just because I'm Asian, but I obviously love matcha, but I do love matcha and like green tea flavored things. So I think right now like a matcha cookie.
Yeah. So the more serious ones.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what is the best and worst part about being a girl?
Okay. I would say like, I think the worst part about being a girl or a woman or what have you, or identifying as a woman, is without people like realizing it, they automatically kind of put you in a subcategory. And it's hard to say, like even like I even find myself checking myself too, you know, like you can't help but be influenced by what you understand about a male businessman versus a female businesswoman. In our minds, there's always like a general impression about what that person is capable of. You know, it's easy to assume that the woman is gonna naturally be more sympathetic or be more of a caretaker. And you know, sometimes that's great. I think that's also part of this, sort of segues into what is also great about being a woman, is that I think we are naturally inclined to have the ability to be a fantastic, like, whether it's a business person or someone who makes really good decisions or definitive decisions, but we can also balance out maybe some of these like inherent womanly qualities, which include empathy. The element of empathy is both a strength and a weakness. I like to say it's a strength of mine, but I'm like, do you know what? I think I can be both a nice person and a fine as a business person. There we go. Two sort of answers in one.
Yeah. That's great. So, what is your definition of success, and do you think you've achieved it?
Sure. I'd say probably even well into my 20s, my definition of success was materialistic, but you know, like you see all these lists of, you know, top 20 under 20 like the top 35 under 35, and like so-and-so's got this article written about them, and so-and-so's on this cover, and so-and-so is making this much money. I think for a long time that was my idea of success, but I think as I've gotten older, and I've seen more people who have achieved these things that were pillars of success in my mind, and they are still not satisfied. That really kind of took a long time for me to like rejig. So now my idea of success is personal happiness, fulfillment, balance, and a lot of it does have to do with like success in work and career, but it's at the end of the day not what I think life is all about. Yeah.
Definitely. So, who or what inspires you?
So I'd say my mother. She never necessarily had the opportunity to fulfill her career ambitions because she had a more poor upbringing, and then thrown into a marriage, and then had like 3 kids and essentially raised my sisters and I herself. Even though now we're all grown and, you know, like her role of a mother has shifted, I still admire her because she always says like, oh, Tammy, you know, like, don't listen to me. I don't have an education and stuff like that. I was given a very good education, but that doesn't mean that I know more than her. Like, she knows so much about life and overcoming hardship and being strong. And now she's going through this phase of having a very curious mind and learning, and she's like in her 60s now. There was a time when I would take her to the Art Gallery of Ontario, and you know, she's just like so busy taking care of us kids that she doesn't get to absorb it. Whereas like now when we have the chance to go together, it's nice because I'm seeing this other side of her. Even though she always says, oh, but I never went to school, she doesn't let that bog her down or limit what she as a person is capable of. So yeah. So she's awesome.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest regret?
This one's hard. It's hard to say biggest because I think there are times when some regrets feel worse than others. I try not to have too many regrets. Yeah. Humans make mistakes.
Exactly.
And clinging to regrets, it doesn't achieve that much beyond like once you acknowledge the mistake, learn from it, and move on. Perhaps a regret was that once I finished university in Toronto, I just jumped right into work. And I think this was when I was still on my like overachiever fleek, like gotta like kill it, gotta kill it. So I kind of missed that window of learning about myself, take time to maybe travel, or spending time living in Hong Kong would have been great. So if there's like no rush to start working, give yourself, you know, time to ease into it. You know, now I'm in my 30s, I'm married, I like have obligations here. It's a lot harder to just be like, peace out, I'm gonna go travel the world now. So that would be maybe a regret. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And especially nowadays, I think there's such a pressure on young people to like, I guess like be the best or like get this the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like, and it's like, okay, so for what? Like for what reason?
Exactly.
Really?
Right.
It doesn't make a difference.
So what would you say is your proudest achievement?
I don't know about proudest. I can say the proudest in the last like weekend, because we just had like our debrief for the art fair just yesterday, and we talked about what were like personal wins. Most recently, one of my proudest achievements has been able to bring an element of inclusion. And with any kind of like older arts institution, it can be primarily white, have a lot of traditions or ideas that might be for like a certain demographic. Yeah. So when I was like brought onto the team, it was really cool to be able to like work with them to, you know, make the land acknowledgement component more prominent, to see it happen like at Nathan Phillips Square, you know, over the course of the weekend multiple times to like thousands of people. That's great because it's like making an impact on for something that I think is important on a broader scale, and perhaps like setting the precedent for that to now happen for the 59th year and the 60th year into the 75th year or whatever. And then the other element of that was bringing in a really wonderful all women like Filipina R&B, lo-fi, queer, punk, gong group. So they like use traditional like Filipino instruments, and then they like fuse it with electro beats and things like that. But we brought them on as the performers for the award ceremony. They were there on City Hall property doing this like performance for a huge group of just like the public who would normally not be exposed to this kind of music. Yeah, so I think just being able to use the opportunities that are given to me to then pass that on to other people and see how it can impact a larger audience. So that's like probably my achievement for the week.
It's good to have like little things every once in a while, so you're not always like reaching for a super far goal and I don't know, like discouraged if you make headway.
Yeah, I think so, because there's always like a new opportunity. There's going to be plenty more cool things. So
definitely.
Yeah.
What is your advice to younger girls who are, I guess, trying to figure out what they want to do, going into university?
Right, yeah. I know, and I like sort of touched on that. I'm like, don't go to university yet. You don't know what you're talking about. No, but I think don't rush. Also just know that it's not the be-all, end-all. Like, just because you choose a field or a direction or a program, the chances are you'll probably end up doing something maybe just related to it, not exactly it, because the university process was also learning about ourselves. It's also part of the process of just figuring out what you're into or what you're good at or whatever. So I think like don't get super stressed out about what that program is, because you're going to change and you're going to discover new things too, and it'll be, wherever you end up will still be better than where you started before university.
Definitely.
So also don't take life too seriously. At the end of the day is not, it also like, and I mean this in the best way possible, it also doesn't matter. Like whatever is like super stressful, there are many bigger things in life that could be better and worse, and like in that moment it's probably the craziest, like worst thing that could ever happen, but it's also like meh. I find that I've and this is probably not the best motto, but like for myself I'm always like it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, oops, that project didn't work out, well, doesn't matter. And it's not like I don't care. It's like I care. I don't care too much for it to personally like bring me down.
And it's like not take everything so personally, and just letting it like go.
Yes, exactly. Just like let it go. You're doing the best you can. You know, like what, no one else is punishing you as hard as you are for yourself. Yeah. So try and like treat yourself the way that you might treat your best friend or whatever. Yeah.
That's fantastic advice. Okay, thank you so much for meeting with me.
So
It's
much.
such a pleasure.
Yeah, that was really fun. Thank you.
Thanks.